Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Coming up to Mother's Day, there's no better person to speak to about it, to treat your mother right, than Kimberley Walsh. How are you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I spoke to a dear friend of mine last night who tells me you are one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest people in show business. You don't hear that very often. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear. Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
You were the perfect Princess Fiona. Do you need any more clues?
Perfect Princess Fiona.
You got to marry him every night and sort of fall in love with him. He was quite green.
What, that's your friend?
Yes, Dean Chisnell. Do you remember him?
Oh, Dean. I love Dean. He's so lovely. Yeah, no, we got on really well. He's such a lovely guy.
When you do a role like that, does it kill you? I know for him it was tough having to get in that slap 8 times a week and stay in it all day on matinee days. It's tough, isn't it?
Oh, gosh, he had a really, really tough job. I mean, I did get greens at the end, which was slightly annoying because I made it through the entire show and then was thrown on me in the last, 10 minutes. But, yeah, he had a really tough job having that on every day. But it's a really hard schedule. West End hours it's really full on. It's 8 shows a week. And you have to get on there even if you don't feel great. You've got to try and do the best show that you can.
It was funny, I was filming down yesterday in Bristol for the new tour of Wicked, and I sat there with the beautiful Glinda and also the beautiful Elphaba, and I just thought, God, it must be awful. One of them gets to wear a posh frock and fly across the stage. The other one's got to green up and go on, sing the big numbers, work the hardest. Show business isn't always fair, is it?
No, but it's an amazing part, though. Elphaba's incredible, but yeah, the green must be hard to live with because you would always have a tinge of green all over your face, for sure. There's no way that you're ever getting it fully out.
Is there any role at the moment you've got your eye on in the West End? I mean, you've done some big ones, and I know it's tricky, isn't it, balancing everything, mother, model, showbiz person, and being human.
Time now, to go into a West End show now while they're both so young, 1 and 3, the boys are, I think it would be tough, but it's definitely a passion that I'd definitely want to revisit again at some point. It's just, it's finding that perfect role, like you say. I actually did a workshop for a new musical that was hopefully going to come to the West End at some point, of Sleepless in Seattle, and that was amazing. Such a brilliant part. So I think if anything like that came up at the right time, then I'd love to get on stage again. But right now, I don't want to miss putting my little one to bed every night because it goes so fast and he's only 1.
I do think doing West End is probably one of the most rewarding, but it's certainly the hardest work and it's the biggest slog of any part of show business. At least with a TV show, once you've filmed it, it's done and you can move on. You've got to turn up 8 times a week.
I know, when you've got kids, you're still up early with the kids and you basically have them all day, and then at the normal point that you start to wind down and get ready to have a rest, that's when you're going off to work. So it is really, really tough, but I love the theatre, so I'm going to be desperate to get back out there at some point.
We're on today talking about Mother's Day and whether it's appropriate to remember it and send your mother a card, or whether loving her enough is enough. It is a tricky balance because some of these symbolic days like Valentine's, they can shroud sort of passive aggression, can't they? If you love your mum, you love her. It's not all down to a card on one day, is it?
I completely appreciate what you're saying. I can see where people are coming from, but I feel like Mother's Day is a little bit different because, I think all mums are like super women, and I feel like we do deserve a little bit of acknowledgement. And I know it's like creating a day to tell us when really we should be told every day, but the reality is we're not told every day because everybody's busy and we just get on with it. So I think it is quite nice to have that one day where you just pay them a little bit more attention and, just appreciate them and spend a little bit of family time together. And it's not about huge grand gestures and spending loads of money. It's just about giving it a little bit of thought so that they feel like, you really care.
And Tesco have done this survey, which we'll get on to talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
An awkward question that I've got to ask you. Did you ever have that sort of inner dialogue? Should I continue my career and put off being a mum a bit because it will be affected by the fact that I've got to turn up and get the kid ready and eventually take it to school and then send it off to university? It's a huge commitment, isn't it?
It is. I think for me, I was really lucky in the way that it all worked out, because I knew I never really wanted to have children while I was in the group, because I feel like it just wouldn't be fair to them. Like, you can't make them travel all over the place, not when they're really young, and you don't want to miss those first years. So I was quite sure that I wanted to take some time out when I started a family, and I knew I definitely wanted children. So when Girls Aloud sort of came to a natural end, it just seemed like the perfect time, and I was able to kind of just dedicate everything to that, and it worked out okay for me. But it is really hard if you've got to try and juggle them both together. Like, you do see people doing that, but I just feel like I would miss those early years too much if I was in a band and, you know, working those kind of crazy hours.
And they do say the first 3 years of a person's life defines them forever. I think we can underestimate the power of sort of being there twice a day to wake them up and put them to bed. It's a huge compromise. I can see how some people have no choice and they have to do it and go and work somewhere else, but it's tough, isn't it?
I agree completely. It's not a choice for everybody, but it is for me. So I think I definitely do put them first, for sure.
You mentioned you're in a group. I'm just looking through my notes. I can't really see much about that. But can I ask you the question that you're not going to answer? Let's get it out of the way. Has Cheryl and Liam split up?
I'm obviously not going to talk about my friend, but I'm sure you understand that.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, the hype around you girls is extraordinary. And when I have you all on one by one doing your own projects, the success you've had since is remarkable. I mean, where are you at with the group now? I mean, do you look at it with utter fondness? Because it was such an extraordinary time, and the music you left had great legacy, and is respectable stuff. It still stands up today, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm really, really proud of all the music that we had and what we achieved as a group. Now I've got nothing but amazing memories of that time, for sure.
It's almost like the press want to have a go at you all the time. You seem to have avoided a lot of that. I suppose what you did afterwards in going into theatre kind of helps, because it's that there are more people reviewing you. It's not sort of a tabloid thing, is it?
It's not, but at the same time, I think, you know, the theatre can be a tough world, because especially coming from a pop band, as you saw with Sarah, people do they scrutinise, you know, you even more. So I felt the pressure for sure, but obviously I've trained in musical theatre as well, and that is my kind of history. So I did feel confident and comfortable doing those roles again.
Everybody's coming back, bringing their bands back. Do you think we'll ever see you girls on stage again together?
Who knows? It's definitely the age of the reunion, isn't it? You can never say never.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. I've loved talking to you. You're a bit of class. When I saw you in Trek, you were really terrific. And again, there's no faking it when you're live on a stage in front of 2,000 people. Keep on keeping on, and let's see you back on a stage soon, because we love to watch you sing.
Thank you. Nice talking to you. See you later.